I'm Rajiv, and today we're going back to basics. I'm going to take you through my kitchen and show you what I believe are the necessities that anyone should have if they're setting up their own kitchen for the very first time. I have lived in this apartment for 8 years, almost 9 years now. I just redid the kitchen about a year ago, and while living in here and redoing this kitchen, I've kind of learned how to make the best use of a small space, especially a small kitchen. The things that I absolutely need, the things that I don't need, like a salad spinner. A salad spinner would take up like a quarter of this cupboard, which is a lot of space for this kitchen. So when I'm spinning salad leaves, I just take one of these linen dishcloths, put the wet lettuce in here, fold it up, and then I actually just I go like this. I go this way, and then I go this way, and then I go this way, and I go this way. And I have to tell you, it's very, very effective. So today I want to just show you what I believe are the very, very basics that everyone should have in their kitchen, especially if you're moving out for the first time, you're living by yourself for the first time, and you need to find the things to set up your own kitchen from scratch. So this is my counter space. It isn't very big, which means that I don't have a lot of surface area to store stuff, especially appliances. What I have on here are really the essentials of what I'm using all the time. One of the very basic things that every kitchen needs is a cutting board of some sort. I have this round breadboard and I have this cutting board, and I made both of these, but you need a cutting board for chopping up vegetables, chopping up meat if you have to. I mean, you could do it on a plate, but it's so much easier and effective when you have just a flat surface that you could pick up and then wash in the sink. Cutting board, essential. I've cooked in a lot of kitchens. I've cooked at friends' houses, relatives' houses, random school kitchens, and I have discovered that every now and then a person doesn't have what I believe is vital in a kitchen: a wooden spoon. You need to have a wooden spoon. There's just no equivalent to this. You can use it for I don't have an electric stand mixer in here, so if I'm making a cake, it's a bowl and it's this spoon. It's old-fashioned, it's classic, and it's essential. So I have a bunch of wooden spoons that I love. My favorite is this little one right here. I have used it so much that it's worn down on the side over here. I use this for stirring pots of stuff on the stove, for dishing out stuff when it's been cooked. It's an all-around useful tool. The more you use it, the better it looks. It starts to take on like a patina, the oils and the colors of whatever you're cooking. It just adds to the charm and the beauty of these tools. Real essentials for any kitchen: a wooden spoon. Every kitchen needs some form of mixing bowl. Some kind of larger bowl, larger than a cereal bowl, that you can use for scrambling eggs, that you can use for mixing up cake batter with a wooden spoon, pancake batter. I love clay mixing bowls. I think it's because I've been working with clay since I was a teenager, throwing stuff on the pottery wheel. I love classic English and classic American bowls. So this is a bowl from Ohio, from a company that goes back to the 1800s called Robinson Ransbottom, and it's in Roseville, Ohio. So they've been making these bowls with these iconic blue stripes, I think since the 1860s, and this is actually a new one. I got this when I was about 16 years old. My dad and I drove to where they make these bowls, and he bought me this bowl, and I have used it ever since. It's marked on the bottom. I also love these old bowls, these old Yellowware bowls. This has been used for a lot of cake and cookie batter. It's also just very beautiful. So a mixing bowl, another kitchen staple. I'll tell you something. When I'm in someone's kitchen and I go for the scissors, I pull the scissors out, and they're those elementary school craft scissors, those ones with the little red handles, and then they don't cut anything. That is one of my pet peeves. Why do you have those scissors in your kitchen? They don't even work. You might as well not have them. You might as well just use a knife. Buy a pair of kitchen shears, or buy a pair of, these are hand-forged iron scissors from Japan, which I love. I also just love how they look, but they're very sharp and they can be sharpened or resharpened, and they're very sturdy. So chicken carcass that I need to split, I don't do it actually with a knife, I do it with the scissors. This thing for me is constantly edited. Every now and then I pull everything out and I ask myself, do I really use this? And do I really need this? Because it's taking up room. And I get rid of some stuff. So I believe now it's mostly full of things that really I do believe are essentials. Here's one right here. A sieve. A fine meshed sieve is really handy. If you're making loose leaf tea, you can strain it through here. That's what they do in Sri Lanka. That's how they make tea. If you make a little bowl of pasta, you can actually use this to drain the pasta. If you are washing berries, like raspberries or strawberries, you can use this. So this sieve, vital. While we're over here, rubber spatula. Oh, this is one of my best friends in the kitchen. I use this all the time. Making a cake, you scrape the batter clean from the bowl with a spatula. Risotto, you can really get to the bottom of the pan with this silicone top. The great thing about these is that when you're washing them, they just come apart. So you're not soaking this and keeping this in there where it can grow mold. You wash them separately and you dry them separately, and then you put them back together. Rubber spatula, you need at least one. And get a good one. Get one that's not going to melt. A whisk. Every kitchen needs a whisk. You can beat eggs with this. You can beat eggs with a fork. But if you're baking, it often requires some kind of mixing of ingredients with a whisk. So a good whisk, another staple for the kitchen.
On s'intéresse. Priez pour nous.
Everybody needs St. Teresa in the corner. Here's a little tip. If you ever find old statues like this, don't clean away the grime, because the grime is actually what shows the relief of the figure. So this is one thing you don't clean. You leave it alone. Also, the grime is holy. Let's go back to our crock. So, a flipper of some kind. Flipping pancakes, scrambling eggs, flipping things in the oven on a cookie sheet, like you're making some roasted nice chicken cutlets, which I like to do very often. They're easy, they're tasty. You need a flipper. So here's a metal one. I love this because it's thin metal and it's easy to clean. It's flexible too, getting cookies off of a cookie sheet. So this kind of flipper, or here's a wooden one. You can use this for the same thing. Essential flipper. And listen, I love me a good can of tuna fish. And how do you get that can open? You need a can opener. You have to have a can opener in a kitchen. And usually a can opener like this has other things on it, like it's a bottle opener as well. A lot of cans now have those pull tabs, but some don't. Like my tuna fish that I love, albacore tuna, you have to open with a can opener. Essential. If you don't like to cook, maybe you don't need these. But if you're a cook and you're setting up your kitchen, you need a pair of tongs. This is an extension of your hand when you need to turn things over, lift things out delicately, like you need to take a bay leaf out of your stock or your soup that's been bubbling away for hours. You do it with this. You're frying chicken wings, which I do. I don't have like a mesh sieve to lift the chicken wings out. That's something that I actually got rid of. I wasn't using that thing for anything else other than making chicken wings. I'm like, I can't keep this. So I use these now. they're essential. They're wonderful. One more thing. I do believe that a big metal spoon is very handy in the kitchen. I use this a lot. Stirring sauces, like that I really need to get into. When I'm making chicken stock and I need to lift out the carcass of the chicken, it falls apart when I'm using my tongs, so I end up using this big spoon. I use this a lot when I'm making curries. This is actually from India. It's a stainless steel big spoon. So some kind of big spoon, or if you make a lot of soups, you need a ladle of some sort to be able to take the soup or stew out of the pot and to put it in a bowl. So a big spoon for that kind of thing is essential. Something like this or something like this. Or, if you're really fancy, you could have it in silver. This is really a serving spoon to be used at the table. You're not supposed to use this for stirring in a pot because you'll wear down the edges. This is not a heavy-duty mixing spoon. It's too precious. It's too valuable for that. So that's just a joke. Okay, spoon's done. Frying pan. Every kitchen needs some kind of frying pan for making eggs, frying bacon, making a grilled cheese sandwich. A lot of people like non-stick pans. That will work. I love a good seasoned cast iron skillet, which essentially is non-stick. Once it's well seasoned, and if it's maintained properly, this coating acts as a kind of non-stick coating. So frying pan, one of those bare bones of a kitchen. Cookie sheet. If you're setting up a kitchen, it's really nice to have a cookie sheet. You can warm things up in the oven. If you don't bake, you could still, like your takeout the next day, you could put a piece of parchment on here and put it in the oven and warm it up. They're so handy. This is a half sheet, so a full-size cookie sheet is double this size, which I also have. But I use this a lot. When I make cookie dough, I make all the cookie dough, I make it into logs, I put it in the freezer, and then if I want just like a midnight snack, I pull the cookie dough out of the freezer. I just cut off while it's frozen 2 slices, put them on here, bake them in the oven, freshly baked cookies in 5 minutes. Yeah, on this cookie sheet. Another staple. I do think that every kitchen needs a deep pan that can go in the oven. Something that you can make casseroles in. If you live with your roommates and you want to make dinner one night, it's very easy to make a casserole or a lasagna. So this is a hotel pan, and you can buy these at restaurant equipment supply stores. They're cheap and they feel indestructible. They're not heavy, they're thin, but you can use and abuse this, and you can clean it out. You can really scrub it with steel wool. They are wonderful for any kind of deep baked dish. Like baked ziti, you would do that in here. They're so handy. Knife talk. If you buy knives that are really good quality, you'll have them for your whole life, and you can take them with you wherever you go. If you're a student moving off to college and, I don't know, your grandma gives you some money, go buy some knives. Because you'll end up really using them. You'll be glad that they can stay sharp for a long time. And as I said, when you have your own family and you have kids running around and you're cooking dinner for 6 people, you might be using the same knife that you used in college because you bought a good one. So if you're going out to buy knives, I would say there are 3 knives that you should have that will really get you through a lot of stuff. A chef's knife like this, so a big knife, right? A paring knife, which is slightly smaller than this, or a knife about this size. I think this is a boning knife, but I use this a lot because you can even peel a pear with this, or peel an apple with this, if you develop knife skills. So a knife this size, and some kind of serrated knife. And a serrated knife like this is used for cutting bread. If you get a loaf of bread, you can cut cakes with it. If you bake and you're making a layered cake, this is the kind of knife that you would use to split apart the layers that you would then fill. So I have more knives in there, but I would say the 3 essential knives you should have in your kitchen are these 3. If you have knives, then you need a knife steel to sharpen the knife in between use, really. Every time you go to use the knife, you should give it a few strokes on this. Not the serrated knife. You can't put the serrated knife on the knife steel, but these knives just hones the edge. So if you invest in some knives, make sure you get a knife steel as well. A measuring cup of some kind. If you're only going to have one implement for measuring, this is it. A Pyrex measuring cup, a glass measuring cup, because you can use it for more than just measuring. You could use it for mixing things in and pouring. Sometimes I scramble eggs just in here. If I have it out, if it's been washed, I don't pull out a mixing bowl. I just do them in here and pour from here into the frying pan. It withstands changes in temperature. You can pour boiling water in this and it's not going to crack. And there have been many instances in which I've poured boiling things in here. Boiling stock, for example. So it's essential that it's a heat-tempered glass, that it's going to withstand changes in temperature. You can measure dry ingredients in this, you can measure wet ingredients in this. Not that you should. If you're a real baker, then you should have a different set of sort of measuring scoops for dry ingredients. But you can use this. And I don't even have those scoops, and I bake in here. This is my only measuring implement. I love it. It's a classic Pyrex measuring cup. If you're only buying the basic things for a kitchen from the pots and pans section, I would say frying pan and then some kind of lidded pan that you can make pasta sauce in, that you can make soups in, that you can also put in the oven to braise things in. So you could put the lid on and the whole thing can go in the oven as a covered pan. And this is enameled cast iron. This is so handy. I cook so many things in this. The stuff comes out great. You cook it on low or medium heat and it always does a great job. They're pricey, but this is another thing that will last generations. Don't use steel wool on the inside of this. If something burns and gets stuck to it, let it soak overnight, and then you actually use something called Barkeeper's Friend, which is a powder, a mild abrasive powder that takes off the whatever stuck to this with a cellulose sponge, and you can clean this up again. A lot of people mistakenly use metal utensils in here and scrape the bottom, and they scratch this enamel. So they do require a little bit of care to use and to clean, but when you know how to do that, they become your best friend in the kitchen. Enameled cast iron. The last sort of pot or pan that I believe is very useful in any kitchen is some kind of stainless steel big pot that's covered, a stock pot. A stainless steel stock pot like this is very handy for boiling pasta, for making a big pot of something like I make biryani in here, which is an Indian dish. I can use this as a one-pot meal for a lot of people if I'm having a dinner party, but I also use this pot a lot for making stock. This is my stock pot, and it's really well made. It's made here in America by Allclad. It is very easy to clean because you can clean this pot out with steel wool. You can't clean the enamel pot out with steel wool, but this you can. And this also goes in the oven. So stainless steel stock pot, another essential. And now we're reaching the end. A grater, a box grater. This is a small version. You don't need a big one, but grating cheese, grating a carrot. I also have this, which is a microplane. And a microplane is very good for zesting citrus fruit. You can grate cheese on here like Parmesan really finely. I use both of these a lot. I do believe that this is an essential for every kitchen, a box grater. The last essential for every kitchen is, what do you think it is? What do you think it is according to me? It is a trash can. You need something to put the garbage into. It has a lid and it also has a pedal, so it's kind of perfect. And it has an insert on the inside that can come out and be washed. So a bag goes in there, trash goes in there, trash gets emptied every night. Trash can, trash bin of some sort, essential. So there you have it. Kitchen basics. All the things that I believe you need if you're setting up a kitchen for the first time. All the things I believe are very useful if you live in a small space and have a small kitchen. From me to you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give it a thumbs down. But please subscribe for more videos just like this one.